Hey guys, Geeky Guy Comics here once again. It's Friday, so I hope everyone's looking forward to the weekend. 2 days ago was New Comic Book Day, week 50. There were some absolutely storming comics that came out. This time round we had absolutely fantastic ones from Image. We had Boom Comics, we had IDW. Obviously, we got the ones from Marvel and DC, but tonight, this is all about Geeky Guy Comics read and reviews. Stay tuned. Hey guys, so what is happening? So this week, as I mentioned, been a wicked week for comics. It's been a really good week. I was really looking forward to the comics that came out this week. Last week wasn't really too fast. Some of the comics that came out were okay, they were worth a read. This week round, absolutely fantastic. I kind of went indie this week, so I kind of read comics that didn't really think I would like, didn't really think it would stand out to me, but they did. And they say never judge a book by its cover, but some of the comics out there really took a step forward this week. I mean, we've got the likes of Lucy Clare, Redemption, we had Red Mother, we had Alien vs Predator, Thicker Than Blood. What else did we have? We had Doll's House #2. Now, these comics, absolutely fantastic. The one that I really enjoyed reading was Lucy Clare. So if you're thinking about, the synopsis is kind of like, how can I put this? It's kind of like Twilight, but more gory. So we've got Lucy Clare. She's a vampire killer. She's been away for years and years apparently. At the start of the comic, the rumours are that she's been killed. She killed herself, or she killed her family and just went mental and ended up going off on one. So they're in this town, these wolves have taken over, and it's down to this new gang of local kids and people that go into the woods trying to hunt down, trying to do Lucy Clare's job for her. They've recruited the hunter that they call him, and within seconds he gets kidnapped, he gets killed by these wolves. So it's down to this gang of youths to find out where Lucy Clare is, and by finding out where she is, they actually do manage to get her back and do bring her back into the light and get her to become the wolf hunter that everyone has known and loved. So if I'm honest, I didn't really know much about this comic before I started reading it. It was the first time I'd ever really heard of Lucy Clare, and obviously this is a follow-on from a few comics that have been released under the same title before. This one's obviously Redemption, so she's obviously got a point to prove. We find out a lot about her. She's been locked up in a prison cell for various crimes that she's committed. She seems very friendly with the chief of police there, and we then come to learn that she's an alcoholic. She's got problems, but as the story goes on, she kind of really wants to get back to how she was. And I'll tell you what, the comic was wicked. Honestly, the action scenes in it, from start to finish, it's just violence, action. And Image Comics, I'm not really a lover of the indie comics. Obviously, like, if you've seen my blogs and you've read the reviews before, I'm all about Marvel, I'm all about DC, I'm all about like the action, the superhero type of thing. But Image Comics and indie comics, they're really coming forward. Like, I really enjoyed this, and I think with the likes of Joe Hill coming into the forefront now with DC Black Label, he's always done indie comics, and I think where he's been given like a foothold now in DC, I'm going to be reading him a lot more. So yeah, definitely one to read. 5 geeks out of 5 for Lucy Clare. It's wicked from start to finish, absolutely amazing. Violent, gory, funny, comical. The artwork's superb. The writing was second to none. If you get a chance, check it out. Thanks to Comixology for sorting me out yet again this week. I mean, Place and Space is where I go to get my subscriptions and my comics. The guys there know me very well, but they also know that I can't always get down there. You know, I get down there once or twice a week if I'm lucky. If not, I'll go there on a Saturday and collect the bulk buy of my subscriptions. But even though I don't get to collect my subscriptions from them straight away, I've got the free subscription with Comixology that I'm lucky enough to read the comics when they do come out. So yeah, Lucy Clare, check it out. Absolutely loved it. Fantastic from start to finish. Sorry. Then the next comic I read was Red Mother. So this one, again, it left little to the imagination, if I'm honest. Imagination, if that's a word. It left little to the imagination. It started off quite slow. It started off I was wondering where it's going to go. It kind of seemed like a chick flick comic. There's a guy and a girl, they're out on a date and they start kissing, and then the next thing you know, boom, 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 it happened. They are walking past the park and like the guy just get dragged in, and it's like the stupid person in a horror film when the villain or the enemy's after you and you run upstairs. This guy, he's clearly heard something in the deep dark woods, and the first thing you would do is run away. You wouldn't just stand there and think, oh, I'm going to go and have a butcher's. He walked straight in, and his missus that's standing behind him is like, where you going? What you doing? Before you know it, something's come out of the darkness, shot her in the eye, she's lost an eye, and the geezer's dead. Next thing you know, she's waking up in hospital, surrounded by doctors, surrounded by the police. She's lost her eye, she's got an eye patch on, and it just goes from bad to worse for this poor old girl. But I've got to be honest, I really enjoyed it. It's something different. I'm just going to turn my logo on back here. Yeah, there we go. Technology, eh? It was something different. I really enjoyed it, and it's kind of like, I'm just trying to think what film or comic book it was like. I mean, obviously, so as we go through the story, she got her eye lost. She wakes up in hospital, and she's feeling really sorry for herself. She's talking to her best mate. I think she's maybe a publicist, or she's a journalist, or a travel blogger or something. She's got a best friend called Parry, who seems to travel around a bit, and she shows up when she's come out of hospital. She's got her eye patch on, and she's had a new eye fitted. It's obviously a glass eye, and she goes to see a psychologist to try and get over. They still haven't found her missing boyfriend. So she's dealing with all of these emotions, but then now and again she kind of switches, and her vision seems to come back, but it's all red, and she kind of sees things that maybe aren't there, and she gets feelings in her head that maybe aren't there. Maybe it's a supernatural being that's come from when she was first attacked. But it seems like a good story. I'm interested to see where it's going. There's not really much more I can share on the fact of the basis that it's a graphic, gory novel. I'd like to know more about what it was that attacked her and her boyfriend. I think obviously based on the cover, she's going to be possessed through her eye by a supernatural being, so only time will tell. I think it's quite fitting that I think she is ginger, so the red mother kind of thing ties in. Maybe the person or the supernatural entity that's going to take possession of her is her from another life. Not really sure. It's an interesting comic. I really did enjoy reading it, so if you get a chance, check it out. I gave it a 4 geeks out of 4. What was next on my list? Alien v Predator, Thicker Than Blood. This, if you're a fan of the movies, you're going to love this comic. This is basically exactly what it says on the tin. Alien vs Predator. So we start off, I think we're in the near distant future. There's a massive spaceship. It starts like Alien #1, where Sigourney Weaver wakes up on the spaceship, and she's got her family and her friends and everything, and everyone's going around doing their own thing. But this starts, I think we find out that it's a son who's a robot, the mum and the dad and the daughter. So obviously he's he's the odd one out. He's the robot. He is kind of like what is her name? Winona Ryder's character in the movie. She was a cyborg, and this kid plays as a cyborg, and his sister doesn't really like him. His mum and dad obviously work on the spaceship doing stuff, so he's kind of left to his own devices to get up to what he gets up to. And he gets a call on his little personal radio to go and get his sister urgently and take her to one of the subterranean platform rooms in the spaceship. And as he goes to collect her from, she's just chilling, she's on a day off, she's in one of the I think it's obviously like it's like a travel holiday spaceship, because there's loads and loads of people there, and one of the lines is I'm gonna report this to the travel agents when I get back, the worst holiday ever. So I guess people can get on and off and board the ship at their own leisure. And yep, so his sister's there just chillaxing, reading a comic and everything like that, and then all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, people start getting killed. and it is more gory than I actually thought it was going to be. One of the first scenes that we actually see the Predator is there's a guy, he's just standing on the beach in this part of this spaceship where everyone's obviously chilling, and the next thing you know, his head's cut off, and you've got the Predator's the Predator's claws cut off his neck, straight off his neck. And then one of the other women, she gets juked as well, she gets done, and before you know it, all hell is breaking loose. Everyone's running around like headless chickens, literally, and it's up to the two stars of the comic, the little boy and the little girl, to run and find their mum and stop everyone getting killed. As they literally go to board a lift to go to one of the other platforms to meet their mum and dad, the Predator attacks them, and it's up to the little robot dude to literally stop everything, step up and cut the Predator in half. And he does that by smashing the lift door so the lift shuts, and he just cuts him in half. I really enjoyed it. Like, honestly, I thought it was a wicked comic. Like, there's scenes in it where you think this is straight out of a movie. Like, it's literally straight out of a movie. The writing was good. The goriness of the comic was surprising. I didn't think it was going to get as gory as it did straight away. Normally some comics, they get gory after two or three editions, but these ones that I've read this week have really not shocked me, but I'd say they've really shown something different. Like, I didn't really think that that comics were that graphic anymore, but yet they're still out there. Image and IDW and Boom still doing what they do best. Alien v Predator, wicked comic. If you're a fan of the movie, I'd definitely get it. There's scenes in it where you think this is out of the movie, this is straight out of the movie. And I mean, I wasn't disappointed as such, but I was a bit like, oh, come on, this isn't really an original novel. It isn't really an original story. It was good, it was great, it was enjoyable, but I would have liked to have seen something more original. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they go a different aspect and it changes up in the next issues. But the ending was really, really good, and it definitely seems like the next couple of issues are going to get more interesting, more gory, more violent, more action-packed, edgy of your seat stuff. Definitely going to read it. I think I gave this one a 4 geeks out of 5. So there's things to be improved on, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it was very good. It was very good. And last but no means least this was my favourite comic, if I'm honest. Actually, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. My favourite comics was Lucy Clare, then it was Alien v Predator, then it was Red Mother, and this one was my least favourite comic. I do apologise. Now, this is Dollhouse number 2. Now, this is written by Hill House Comics. Joe Hill, obviously the son of the horror writer Stephen King. Now, Dollhouse number 1, I absolutely loved. It was something totally different that wasn't on the market. Absolutely amazing. Totally come out of left field. Surprised me. The ending was shocking. I was literally gasping, thinking, can't believe they literally just did that. It actually happened. Number 2, I thought, wow, this is going to get so much more interesting. We're going to build on his story. And it didn't. It really didn't. It kind of just slowed down, and I found myself trudging through this comic thinking, oh, we're going to get back to the action of the first one. And it's obviously after the actions of the first comic. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to elaborate on it because I don't want to ruin it. But the second issue, it was kind of slowed things down, and I felt myself thinking, I really can't wait to get to the end of this comic, because 1, I enjoyed it, yeah, it carried it on, but 2, it wasn't as interesting, it wasn't as intriguing, it wasn't as well worked as the first one. I think the first one had it all. It had shock, it had horror, it had content in there that you wouldn't initially think you would see in a comic. It was quite close to home. Like, obviously it was about abuse within relationships, how the children deal with that and everything like that. It started off pretty well, and then obviously as we get to the end of the first issue, we kind of see the issues that have been portrayed throughout the whole thing, and we see how that kicked off. In number 2, it kind of slowed down. It was nothing like that at all. It became quite boring. I wasn't really interested in reading it, but I mean, the ending, yeah, it was okay, but other than that, there's not really much I can say about this comic. If you're a fan of Joe Hill, then obviously you'll want to read it. I've become a fan of Joe Hill since Basket Full of Heads and since Dollhouse 1, but based on Dollhouse 2, I hope it does pick up, because I'm really interested in seeing how the story pans out. But number 2, I think you could probably miss it, if I'm honest. Number 1 kind of set the tone and set the story out for how it's going to be portrayed, but number 2 was kind of just, it felt like a stocking filler. Excuse the pun, coming up to Christmas, but yeah, that's about it. I think I gave this one a 3. I found it pretty boring, didn't really see much about it. It was kind of like, yeah. The last comic I've read, and you can check out all these full reviews. I'm going to be writing up full reviews over the next couple of days on my Instagram page. Obviously, the Year of the Villain, and my favourite one so far has obviously got to be The Year of the Villain, Harley Quinn. Now, I am a massive, massive Harley Quinn fan, and this comic was literally, I found it fantastic. Like, over the last couple of weeks, the new Harley Quinn TV show has been released by DC. Kayla Cucho has done an absolutely fantastic job of directing that, and also she's the voice of Harley Quinn. If you haven't seen it yet, I would suggest watching it, because it is seriously not what you're expecting. If you're expecting a toned down cartoon, you're not going to get it. Obviously, there's swearing, there's gore, there's jokes, it's funny, it's wicked. Just seriously check it out. Honestly, check it out. But this comic, Year of the Villain, it's really cool how it's been written and how it's been drawn. It's based around the award ceremonies, which are called the Doomies, and lo and behold, the person that they have got to host the awards this year is the one and only Harley Quinn. As usual, she does a fantastic job. She kind of makes it all about her with her different costume changes. So we see her in a Harley Quinn dress, we see her in her blue and her pink hair. We see her in all different costumes, see her in all different get-ups, cracking the wise jokes on the stage, and it is full of villains galore. We've got Lobo, we've got Lex Luthor, we've got Pink Flamingo, we've got the Batman Who Laughs, we've got Penguin, we've got Killer Croc, we've got Poison Ivy. That's just to name a few. There's loads, and I tell you what, one of the comics that came out previously, I think it was Year of the Villain, the Joker, that kind of showed some of the villains that DC are looking to do, but this one, it covers them all, and it was really, really well done. It was wicked. The award ceremony, there's various winners out there. You had like Villain of the Year, you had like Loser of the Year, you had Most Improved Villain of the Year, and everything. And it was such a good and enjoyable comic to read that I read it 2 minutes ago again, just before I jumped on here. I really, really enjoyed it. Harley Quinn can do absolutely no wrong in my eyes, if I'm honest. And I just thought it was hilarious, honestly. And the way that it ends, in typical Harley fashion, was just as expected. It was really good, really, really, really good fun to read. Definitely a comic that's worth picking up if you're collecting Year of the Villains. And other than that, thanks for checking in, guys. If this is the first time that you've seen one of my videos, check it out, Geeky Guy Comics on YouTube. Like, follow, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button just there. Make sure you hit the follow button just there. And make sure that you check out my Instagram profile at Geeky Guy Comics, where the comics that I've mentioned on this review video this evening, I will be doing full written reviews that go more in depth than I'm able to chat rubbish about. Yeah, so check it out. And guys, have a wicked weekend, and if I don't see you before, have an amazing Christmas. Geeky Guy Comics, check it out. See you guys soon.